Hello, we are Natalia and Jennifer, and we're going to present the Evidence 1 for the Effective Lecture Seminar. The content on our presentation would be elements that are often used in a presentation, the relationship between planning, types of presentations, communication skills, and audiences for successful presentations. The elements are point, line, shape, form, tone, texture and a shape, color, font, figure ground, balance, contrast on an image, cropping, hierarchy, scale, and proportion. Now we're going to explain the relationship between some elements of the presentations like planning, types of presentations, communication skills, and audiences.
In order to explain the relationship between these elements, we're going to use as an example an anti-drugs campaign. The first element is planning. We're going to increase awareness in teenagers. Our audience is teenagers and young adults. The main topic is drugs and the effects. We're going to present situations of impact and their consequences. We're going to prepare the elements of the presentations that fulfill our objectives. As visual aids, we're going to use shocking pictures about drugs. We're going to prepare our practice and our main points. Make adjustments of visual aids, and we're going to make sure we have the right equipment in the classroom and for the final practice before the presentation. The next is types of presentation. It's the informative, persuasive, goodwill, multi-purpose, instructional, arousing, and decision-making. The type of presentation that we're going to use is persuasive because we want to convince our audience that drugs are not good.
The next will be communication skills. We have verbal, which is referred to, for example, when we need to use phrases that would help us convince our audience, because we need to be really persuasive when it comes to this topic because it's a very delicate thing. Nonverbal would be the posture that we are taking during the presentation. If we make eye contact with our audience. Signals, for example, when we're talking, try not to use a lot of your hands or try to use some hands in case that you are a very serious person. And generally, our body language. Also, we cannot show insecure during our presentations because that way we're not going to convince our audience of what we're talking about. Written. It can be when we show text or phrases that are in the presentation as visual because they're written. And visual are images that we are showing during the presentation. For example, here we are trying to use shocking images of consequences that are going to really impact on people. That way they are really going to start making some prevention about this and try to convince other friends about them to not take any of them.
The next is type of audience. The unaware audience, they have no information about your topic. And the indifferent audience know a little about the topic, but they are not interested.
Favorable audiences they usually agree with the topic that you are giving and they participate during the presentation. The unfavorable audiences are the toughest audiences for a presenter. They're usually angry for having to be on a talk, or sometimes they just do not agree with any of the points that you are giving. The audience that we believe we're going to have in our presentation would be unfavorable because since they're young adults and teenagers, they've been having these talks since like elementary school, so they already know about this topic. They are familiar to the kind of cases that we present or that kind of consequences that they have for using drugs, but they do not participate on a presentation and they do not agree with the ideas that we are giving. And usually they are shown to be as a hostile audience.
Now the reflection about our communication skills, the ones we need to improve in nonverbal language and eye contact.
In nonverbal language, sometimes we move a lot during presentations, like we make a lot of hand signs, or we are usually smacking our friends during the presentations for them to realize that they need to talk, or sometimes we do not move at all. Like effective presenters, people we know already like Steve Jobs or very famous people like that. They have a very impressive presenter skill because they move around and they show the audience that they feel secure about what they're saying. They're confident, and also they include the audience during the presentation with examples or personal experiences.
And the ones we already have are written and verbal.
Written could be the ones that we use, for example, when we write an email to a teacher with a question that we have about the homework or that we are turning in the homework already. Or written could be also a letter to our boss, maybe. During verbal, we have all the phrases and all the things we have to say to the people because we are in a presentation and we really need to have all these talks instead of letters in the presentations because they do not look good.
Well, this was our interpretation of communication skills and elements of an effective presentation.
Thank you.